Randy, I feel like you're not going to be objective here since you got a shout-out. But who was the winner?
Very true.
Very true. It sounded good, man. Give a shout-out to them boys. Every time they come on, man, we are glued into everything they saying. That was great.
All right. You're playing it political. They were both great.
That was great.
All right.
That was great.
Speaking of great, Josina Anderson is getting ready for this big game. Got a while to wait, Josina. What's the latest?
Well, Sam, what's as good as the last chapter in the book on the Minnesota Miracle that generations of Vikings fans will be reading their kids? The first sentence. And it starts with Vikings wide receiver Stefon Diggs lacing up a pair of cleats that actually forecasted his path towards his destiny at US Bank Stadium last Sunday. And those cleats, which were exclusively customized by Mosh and shown in these pictures here, were inspired by Future's album DS2 and inscribed with the tracks Stick Talk and Colossal, the last of which perfectly describing the stage for Diggs' game-winning heroics. So now I'm told that Diggs' cleats are now locked away for safekeeping for shipment to the Hall of Fame. So I asked Diggs, how in the world did you get refocused for this game today against the Eagles? And he told me, number one, I did not watch any TV highlights of the big play. He said, number two, I turned down all extra media requests. He said, number three, I did my massage and my acupuncture because he said if my body feels good, then I'm going to play good. Diggs also said, listen, to me, this moment is going to be all for nothing if we come out here today and lay an egg. So Diggs told me the best thing that I can do to honor that moment is to do my routine of getting into the end zone, praying to my late father, Aaron Diggs, who introduced me to football at the age of 5, and come out here and play balls out, and of course, bring it home. Guys, back to you.
That's their goal, no doubt about that. Stefon Diggs is just one of the unheralded players on the Vikings offense. He was a fifth-round pick in the 2015 draft, and 2 years earlier, starting running back Latavius Murray was selected in the 6th round. Hey, at least they were picked. Leading receiver Adam Thielen and starting quarterback Case Keenum both went undrafted. Despite the fact that these weren't big names coming into the season, Randy, how does their top two receivers really motivate each other as we look at some next-gen stats powered by the AWS cloud?
Well, I think that, no one gave Thielen or Diggs any respect in the draft. And I think that's what fueled them this season, because if you look at this tape, it's kind of like two wide receivers trying to get the best of one another, Rex. Right here you see week 1 going up against the Saints. Not much separation, but it's the will to want to make the catch, to want to make it happen. That's Stefon Diggs, its counterpart on the other side of the field. Week 3, I did the interview with Adam Thielen. You talked about if there's one thing you want to count on when in doubt, what is it, Thielen? It's them hands. Y'all remember it.
Yeah.
So for me, just looking at Adam Thielen, looking at Stefon Diggs, those guys go week in and week out, trying to outdo one another. Right here, week 8, little stick inside, going back out. There's them hands, Rex. As you can see, we're putting up the separation between him and the defensive back. There is not much separation created. And we just talked about how these guys believe in their hands. Here, man's draped all over him. But guess what? If my counterpart can do it, I can do it better. Right here, great catch by Stefon Diggs, great focus. He had to catch it twice. Tight windows. Here we go. Last 2 catches. I said, whatever you can do, I can do better. Here's Adam Thielen here. Going back to the corner. Make the catch. All hands. There it is. Yards of separation, man. I keep talking about these two guys are wanting to outdo one another. And I'm going to finish with this one. You made a good catch, Thielen. This one right here is going down in history. Mr. Diggs. 0.72 yards of separation. For me, the reason why I put this up, I remember back when I played with the Patriots with me and Wes Welker. I'm the taller, he's the shorter guy. And the one thing that I really tried to do that Wes Welker did well was his yards after the catch. So every week he would be getting maybe 30, 40 yards. I would try to get 30, 40 yards. The more I look at the Vikings wide receivers, Thielen's been catching, great passes all year. Stefon Diggs has been a little hurt here and there. But the more I look at those guys, they have a lot of faith in one another where they try to go out and outdo each other. week in and week out.
Rex, what do you do from a defensive perspective in that situation? I mean, Stefon Diggs has been so good with contested catches all year long. He's got 4 straight games with a touchdown. If you can't just contest them and keep them from getting the what's the game plan defensively?
Well, I think the game plan, Philly is going to run is going to do what they do. They're going to play zone, and not let these two guys beat them, in my opinion. But when you do that, it opens up other things. And so to me, I think it's the screen game by the backs here. They're gonna know that Philly's going to play their zone defense because of those receivers. That's going to open up the screen game. You see Murray right here, and McKinnon's going to be later. But you're going to see all these type of things. They've got to defend those 2 great receivers. But, man, these guys are dangerous in the screen game, and Minnesota does a tremendous job. It's going to be tough on Jim Schwartz here as the coordinator, but they sometimes they're very aggressive on defense, but they love playing that zone, letting that front 4 control the line of scrimmage. But you got to be alert for these screens.
Matt, for you right now, who has the edge when you look at the Eagles' defense against the Vikings' offense? What are you feeling about how that's going to go?
Well, it's going to be a great game, but it's just funny to, we're talking about the strengths. And there's a reason that Pat Shurmur is going to be a head coach next year. Because why? Because they do everything pretty well. They do the screen game really well. They, tight windows. Those are great throws, throwing on time. Last year, what was the story with the Minnesota Vikings last year? Couldn't protect the quarterback. Right? Norv Turner, a great coach, obviously Hall of Fame type coach, left mid-season because they were having so many issues offensively. They couldn't stay healthy. They could not protect the quarterback. This year, they invested in the offensive line. They're getting the ball out quick. And quite honestly, they're doing everything. Like they do everything well. They have a little bit of everything. So when you are preparing for them, it could be screens all day. It could be shots downfield all day. It's creative running game. They lost Dalvin Cook. They've got 2 runners, Fire and Ice. They're 2 different types of backs. They use them both really effectively. And then Case Keenum, I've said it many times before, I'll say it again. If he had played in every single game this season, I think he's an MVP candidate. And quite honestly, I just think it's Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur is a great football coach.
Now the question is, how do they replace him next year, which will be an issue they'll deal with during the offseason that they hope doesn't come for a few more weeks. Their challenge, of course, today is to handle that Eagles defense that's only given up 29 points in their last 4 home games combined. We're going to